यमा शन्नो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो तमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि अवतु भक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति।
ब्रह्मश्री विद्यानंद महोदयः, ब्रह्मश्री गोपालकृष्ण भट्ट महोदयः, ब्रह्मश्री प्रशांत भट्ट महोदयः, वैदिकप्रार्थनया स्वागतं कृतवन्तः सर्वेषां धन्यवादः। कार्यदर्शी के.जी. राघवन् महोदयं प्रति कार्यक्रमस्य अग्रिमः भागः नियन्त्रणं कर्तुं प्रार्थये।
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. In memory and as respect to the former governor of the state, Dr. Khurshid Alam Khan, I request all of you to rise for a minute silence. Thank you very much. Honorable Governor of Karnataka, Shri Hansraj Bharadwaj, distinguished guests on the dais, respected invitees, scholars, Bhavanites, ladies and gentlemen. In the Platinum Jubilee year of the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan and in the 125th birth year of its founder, Dr. K.M. Munshi, yet again it gives me great pleasure to be before you and consider it a unique privilege and honor to guide this inaugural session of the National Conference on Vedic Literature, a 8-day unique program organized by the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Bangalore and ISKCON. I now request the inauguration, a Vedic prayer by Veda Brahma Shri Bennagade Narsimha Bhatta Ganapati and Associates.
Om श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सेदसादनम् स इज्जनेन सविषा स जन्मना स पुत्रैर्वाजं भरते धना नृभिः देवानां यः पितरमाविवासति श्रद्धामना हविषा ब्रह्मणस्पतिम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धेनामवित्र्यवतु आनो दिवो बृहतः पर्वतादा सरस्वती यजता गन्तु यज्ञम् हवन् देवे जुजुषाणा घृताचीषड्मान्नो वाचमुषते शृणोतु एवा पित्रे विश्वदेवाय वृष्णे यज्ञैर्विधे नमसा हविर्भिः बृहस्पते सुप्रजा वीरवन्तो भयज्ञस्यामपतयो रयीणाम् अग्ने नय सुपथा राये अस्मान् विश्वानि देव भजुनानि विद्वान् युजोध्यस्मज्जुहुराणमेनः भूयिष्ठान् ते नम उक्तिं विधेम प्रवः शुक्राय भानवे भरध्वम् हव्यं मतिं चाग्नये सुपूतम् यो दैव्यानि मानुषा जनोगुंसि अन्तर्विश्वानि विद्मना जिगाति अच्छागिरो मतयो देवयन्ती अग्नेयन्ति द्रविणं भिक्षमाणाः सुसन्दृशगुं सुप्रतीकज्ञस्वञ्जम् हव्यवाहमरतिं मानुषाणाम् अग्ने त्वमस्मद्युजोध्यमीवाः अनग्नित्रा अभ्यमन्तकृष्टीः पुनरस्मभ्यगुं सुभिताय देव क्षां विश्वेभिरजरेभिर्यजत्र अग्ने त्वं वारयानव्यो अस्मान् स्वस्तिभिरति दुर्गाणि विश्वा पोश्च पृथ्वे बहुला न उर्वी भवतोकायतनयाय संयोः प्रकारवो मनना वच्यमानाः देवद्रीतीन्न यथ देवयन्तः दक्षिणावाड्वाजिने प्राच्येति हविर्भरन्त्यग्नये घृताची ममाग्ने वच्चो विहवेश्वस्तु भजन्तेन्धानास्तनुवं पुषेम मह्यन्नमन्दां प्रदिशश्चतस्रस्त्वजाध्यक्षेण मृतना जयेम मम देवा विहवे सन्तु सर्व इन्द्रावन्तो मरुतो विष्णुरग्निः ममान्तरिक्षमुरुगोपमस्तु मह्यं वातः पवतां कामे अस्मिन् मयि देवा द्रविणमायजन्तां मय्याशीरस्तु मयि देवहूतिः निकामे निकामे नो नो निकामे 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 नः पर्जन्यः पर्जन्यो नो निकामे 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 नः पर्जन्यः निकामे निकाम इति निकामे निकामे नः पर्जन्यः पर्जन्यो नो नः पर्जन्यो वर्षतु वर्षतु पर्जन्यो नो नः पर्जन्यो वर्षतु पर्जन्यो वर्षतु वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पर्जन्यो वर्षतु फलिन्यः फलिन्यो वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पर्जन्यो वर्षतु फलिन्यः वर्षतु फलिन्यः फलिन्यो वर्षतु वर्षतु फलिन्यो नो नः फलिन्यो वर्षतु वर्षतु फलिन्यो नः फलिन्यो नो नः फलिन्यः फलिन्यो न ओषधय ओषधयो नः फलिन्यः फलिन्यो न ओषधयः न ओषधय ओषधयो नो न ओषधयः पच्यन्ताम् पच्यन्तामोषधयो नो न ओषधयः पच्यन्ताम् ओषधयः पच्यन्ताम् पच्यन्तामोषधय ओषधयः पच्यन्ताम् योगक्षेमो योगक्षेमः पच्यन्तामोषधय ओषधयः पच्यन्ताम् योगक्षेमः पच्यन्ताम् योगक्षेमो योगक्षेमः पच्यन्ताम् पच्यन्ताम् योगक्षेमो नो नो योगक्षेमः पच्यन्ताम् पच्यन्ताम् योगक्षेमो नः योगक्षेमो नो नो योगक्षेमो योगक्षेमो नः कल्पताम् कल्पताम् नो योगक्षेमो योगक्षेमो नः कल्पताम् योगक्षेम इति योगक्षेमः नः कल्पताम् कल्पताम् नो नः कल्पताम् कल्पतामिति कल्पताम् ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ
This conference on Vedic literature, titled Veda Samvada, has been conceived in particular with two objectives, namely, one, promoting knowledge or education amongst all stakeholders towards achieving the ultimate goal of our existence, namely universal peace or Shanti, spreading awareness as to the cosmopolitan character of the Vedas and their teaching or exhortation and their relevance to the modern times. Within this ocean of knowledge, it is our intention at this conference to ignite and promote a healthy debate towards achieving the aforesaid two objectives. There cannot be a better forum to do so. Two great organizations, namely Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan and International Society for Krishna Consciousness ISKCON, inspired by their visionary founders Dr. K. M. Munshiji and Srila Prabhupada, coming together under one banner, scholars over 100 in number, disseminating knowledge on the immortal and eternal truth enshrined in the Vedic literature. Samsara Vishavrukshasya Dvepale Amrutopame Kavyamrita Rasa Swadaha Sangatis Sujane Jane. This poison tree of samsara bears two fruits of nectar, fruit having the eternal nectar of knowledge and fruit comprising of the company of good people. We have both here, Gnana and Sajjana. They are our honored guests. True to the exhortation in the Taittiriya Upanishad, Atithi Devo Bhava, we warmly welcome them. I now request Sri N. Ramanuja, Chairman, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Bangalore Kendra, to deliver the welcome address.
To welcome all of you to this unique National Conference on Vedic Literature, Veda Samvada. I welcome His Excellency Dr. H. Bharadwaj, the Honorable Governor of Karnataka, who will inaugurate this Vedic conference and give movement to the program. It may not be out of context at this juncture if I say that His Excellency has guided Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan in all its activities and also participated in all its important programs. I heartily welcome you, sir, on behalf of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, ISKCON Bengaluru, on behalf of the Vedic scholars, invitees who have assembled here, and on my own behalf. ಸನ್ಮಾನ್ಯ ರಾಜ್ಯಪಾಲರಾದ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಎಚ್ ಆರ್ ಭಾರದ್ವಾಜ್ ಅವರು ಭಾರತೀಯ ವಿದ್ಯಾಭವನದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳಿಗೂ ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶನ ಮಾಡುತ್ತಾ ಹಾಗೂ ಸ್ವತಃ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಲ್ಗೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಭಾರತೀಯ ವಿದ್ಯಾಭವನದ ಪರವಾಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಹೃತ್ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾದ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಕೋರುತ್ತೇನೆ. ಐ ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ಶತಾವಧಾನಿ Dr. R. Ganesh, under whose leadership the 8-day programs have been planned. Professor V. Kannan, ex-Vice Chancellor, University of Hyderabad, has accepted our invitation and come all the way from Hyderabad to deliver keynote address. I extend hearty welcome to you, sir. I welcome Sri Madhupandita Dasa, President ISKCON Bengaluru, who is the guest of honor and also addressing the gathering. I extend warm welcome to all the Vedic scholars who have been associated with Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan in planning this program. I welcome all the invitees, the guests, and the participants who have assembled here. I assure you that all of you will be enjoying the 8-day program, which is going to enrich our knowledge in various aspects of our ancient scriptures. Samaniva akutihi, samanai hridayanivaha, ಸಮಾನಮಸ್ತುವೋ ಮನೋಯಥ ವ ಸುಸಹಾಸಿ. ನಮ್ಮ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಒಂದೇ ಆಗಿರಲಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ಹೃದಯದ ಬಯಕೆ ಒಂದೇ ಆಗಿರಲಿ, ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಪೂರ್ಣವಾದ ಒಗ್ಗಟ್ಟು ಇರುವಂತೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಆಲೋಚನೆಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದೇ ಆಗಿರಲಿ. ಋಗ್ವೇದದಿಂದ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು.
It's now time for us to formally inaugurate this conference. I now request Dr. H.R. Bharadwaj ji, Governor of Karnataka, to inaugurate the conference by unveiling the original manuscripts of the Vedas kept there.
ज्योतिष्पतेन
स्वासादजामित् ज्योतिष्कृतं स्वासादजामित् ज्योतिष्कृतं स्वासादजामित् आस्पदेन स्वासादजामित् ज्वलन्देन स्वासादजामित् मल्मला भवन्देन स्वासादजामित् दीप्यमानान् स्वासादजामित् रोचमानान् स्वासादजामि यजस्रान् स्वासादजामि बृहज्योतिषं स्वासादजामि बोधयन्तेन स्वासादजामि जाग्रतेन स्वासादजामि ॐ बोधयन्तेन स्वात्वा बोधयन्तेन बोधयन्तेन स्वासादजामि सादजामि प्रबोधयन्तेन बोधयन्तेन स्वासादजामि स्वासादजामि सादजामि स्वासादजामि जाग्रतेन जाग्रते कुं सादजामि स्वासादजामि जाग्रतेन सादजामि जाग्रतेन जाग्रते कुं सादजामि सादजामि जाग्रतेन जाग्रते कुं सादजामि सादजामि जाग्रतेन जाग्रतेन स्वात्मा जाग्रतेन जाग्रतेन स्वासादजामि सादजामि जाग्रतेन जाग्रतेन स्वासादजामि स्वासादजामि सादजामि स्वासादजामि सादजामीति सादजामि जुष्टो वाचो भोजा संजुष्टो वाचस्पतये देविभाग यद्वाचो मधुमत्तस्मिन्माधा स्वाहा सरस्वत्यै सृजमे वावरुन्धे शीते वाते पुनन्निवेद्याः क्षेमो वैराष्ट्रस्य शीतो वातः क्षेममेवावरुन्धे
At this conference, we have assembled over 100 scholars from all over the country. Over 100 topics from Vedic literature will be discussed and debated. It is Samvada. This conference will bear true testimony to the Subhashita, Vidya Vivadhaya Dhanam Madaya, Shaktif Paresham Paripidanaya, Khalasya Sadoho Viparita Metat, Gnanaya Dhanaya Cha Rakshanaya. The bad use learning for quarrelsome debate, money to display arrogance, physical strength to always cause trouble to others, whereas the good use learning to spread knowledge, money for charity, and physical strength for protecting others. This is a gathering of the good, and undoubtedly, Veda Samvada will be to spread knowledge and is an earnest attempt to fuse the present with the past for eternal prosperity. The cosmopolitan character of the subjects chosen for the debate and their current relevance bear testimony to this attempt. It is pertinent at this juncture to remind ourselves of the words of wisdom of the famous Kannada literator Dr. D.V. Gundappa, DVG as he was popularly referred to in his magnum opus Mankutimana Gagga. Hosa chigaru ಹಳೆ ಬೇರು ಕೂಡಿರಲು ಮರ ಸೊಬಗು ಹೊಸ ಯುಕ್ತಿ ಹಳೆ ತತ್ವ ಒಡಗೂಡೆ ಧರ್ಮ ಋಷಿವಾಕ್ಯದೊಡನೆ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ ಕಲ ಮೇಲಿವಿಸೆ ಜಸವು ಜನಜೀವನಕ್ಕೆ ಮಂಕುತಿಮ್ಮ. A tree is most healthy and beautiful when it has old roots and fresh sprouts. Just like that, it is dharma only when new wisdom is in harmony with ancient philosophy. When the words of sages are reverberated in acts of science and art, there is bound to be prosperity for all. I now request Dr. Shatavadani, Dr. S.R. Ganesh, a scholar in his own right, to deliver the address on the highlights of this conference, Veda Samvada.
अत्र महदिदं प्रमोदस्थानं यत् सर्वे जनाः आभारतं विद्यमानाः विद्वांसः विदुष्यश्च समागताः सर्वे सर्वाश्च बद्धाधराः वेदवाङ्मये तेभ्यः भारतीयविद्याभवनतः तथा च इस्कान् संस्थापरतः हार्दं स्वागतं व्याहृत्य सम्प्रति अस्य संस्कृतभाषायाः माधुर्यं श्रावयितुमेव कानिचन वाक्यानि प्रस्तूय सम्प्रति आङ्ग्लया वाण्या किञ्चित् प्रस्तोतकामोऽस्मि वेदसंवादस्य विषये. Veda Samvada is a very unique concept. We know there is so much of wealth, both in terms of material and spiritual, in the Vedas. But it is very rare to find a confluence of scholars coming from variegated fields and they sitting together and exchanging their thoughts, however divergent they may be. But at last, we will be having some or the other convergency in our hearts. And at the same time, we wanted to see that the variety which is presented both in terms of recitation and even in the terms of interpreting the Vedas from various angles of different systems of philosophy, all has to be brought out. Apart from that, what the Veda means to a common man, what the Veda means to a distinguished personality in the society, and what the Veda means to people coming from various quarters of rational and devotional learning. To all these things, we have to accommodate. Unfortunately, in Karnataka, we have good tradition, but at the same time, we didn't had such a illustrious conference earlier. In my knowledge, if Professor K.S. Kannan and other eminent people permit me to say so, this is first of its kind in the history of Karnataka. To have such a big canvas of Vedic learning coming at one point for 8 days long, from morning till evening, many sessions will go on, where various scholars coming from various parts of the country and having initiated in various aspects of Veda. Some people are well versed in the traditional knowledge of Veda, like the Shrauta Prakriya, the ritual aspect of the Veda. And some people are in Vedartha Nirnaya, etymology, and also elucidating the lofty meanings of the Veda. And some people are interested in culling out the material beauty of the Veda. For example, do we have science? Do we have Ayurveda? Do we have Rajaniti or polity? If so, how? If not, why? All these things are very much interesting to some of the scholars. And some people coming from different aspects of the regional languages. For example, many people have a blind concept that Vedas are just restricted to Sanskrit. And even they go to the extent of saying that Vedic Sanskrit is different from the classical Sanskrit and they are worlds apart. It is not so. It is the natural extension of the Vedic Sanskrit that has happened in the Paninian grammar. And even the same Vedic message is propagated by through various languages by very eminent saints, scholars and poets all over the country. That's why in Tamil Nadu we have the Nayanmars and the Alvars. In the Karnataka we have the Shivacharanas and the Haridasas. And in the Maharashtra we have the Varakari Sampradaya. In the Bengal we have the Vaishnava Bhakti and then the Shaktaya Bhakti cult, which is very well developed. So also in the North India we have the cult of Rama and the Ramopasana, both in forms of Saguna and Nirguna as propounded by Ramananda Swamiji as well as Kapir. Like that we have very many things which are well preserved in the tradition of India in different languages. That's why the Vedic spirit is vibrant and still living, and it is eternal in that sense. We have to consolidate all these things. That's why Veda should not be restricted just to the form itself. That's why in our tradition we have several Panchama Vedas. Mahabharata is a Pancham Veda, Natyashastra is a Pancham Veda, Ayurveda is a Pancham Veda, Arthaveda is a Pancham Veda. Means fifth position has n number of places. N can tend to infinity. Like that we have in our tradition so many things added to the corpus of Veda with a very great mind. That's why we have the 6 limbs, Shiksha, Vyakarana, Chandas, Nirukta, Jyotisha and Kalpa, and also the 14 Vidyasthanas, which include Itihasa, Dharmashastra, Purana, Nyaya Vistara. And also we have the concept of 18 Vidyasthanas, where the Upavedas are also included, Arthaveda, Ayurveda, Gandharva Veda and Sthapatya Veda. Sometimes it is Dhanur Veda as well. So in all these aspects, we have lot of bearing with respect to the formal terminology of Chaturveda. And again, we have very many interesting features connected with the structure and substance of the Veda. The structure including the semantics, phonetics and stylistics, and substance including the message of the Vedas. Message is manifolded. We have very many people coming from various walks of life. People are different, mindsets are different, thoughts are different, languages are different, ideologies are different. How the plurality is integrated in the conceptual oneness of the Vedas, all these things will be discussed, and I am very happy that 2 great scholars especially, they have worked day and night in materializing this wonderful vision, and one is Professor P. Ramanujan and other is Professor Dr. K.S. Kannan. Ramanujan is an eminent scholar of his own right in the traditional knowledge as well as in the application of Veda and propagation of Veda through the modern means of communication, electronic media and digital media. And Professor K.S. Kannan is now associated with the Sanskrit University of Karnataka, where he is heading the faculty wing of research and projects, and he is a very unique person having multifarious understanding and knowledge of not only of the Vedas but also of the Indian culture in general, and especially arts and literature in particular. And these 2 people have taken a lot of pains along with the faculty of the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, headed ably by Shri H.N. Suresh and other people, and well guided by people like Shri Raghavan, whom you have seen now in his wonderful comparing how enthusiastic he is about the seminar. And of course, we have always the encouraging spirit of Shri Ramanuja, who is the chairman of the institution. And of course, many scholars are also invited. Here we have Shri Satyavrata, and then Dr. S.R. Leela, and Professor M.K. Sridhar, and such other people also invariably associated with enthusiasm they come willingly to formulate the concept and also materialize the sessions. It's very difficult to call all the scholars at one time. Many scholars came, but at the same time, we could not accommodate. Earlier, we had lot of time, but few people turned out. And at the fag end of the organizational session, we had calls from very many scholars, and they wanted to participate, and we are much beholden to their eagerness and enthusiasm and participatory spirit. But we could not accommodate all the sessions, and we know it's so difficult to accommodate all the sessions, all the scholars, and all the thoughts within the 8 days. We have considerable time. 8 days is not a small period. However, we have very much of difficulty in streamlining the sessions, because still Vedas are to be exhausted. 4 Vedas, how much? In the Yajurveda Brahmana, we have one beautiful story. Bharadvaja, having his lifespan for 300 years, he learnt and learnt Vedas. He went on, and then at the end of his life, he again penance and got the grace of Indra and renewed to 300 more years. Again it happened, so thrice it happened. Then Indra took him to 3 mountains and picked up 3 morsels of sand and told, this much I have learnt, and that is remaining, so Anantavai Vedaha. When that being the case, it is very hard for us to exhaust. And that's why it is something like we have Andhagajanyaya in Sanskrit, a maxim which says, blind people going to elephant and trying to feel and comprehend the whole body of the elephant, it is very difficult. So it will happen, but it should not happen andheneva niyamanaha yatandaha, I will assure you. It's not blind leading the other blind. In that sense, we have some of the interesting sessions which are catering to different people. For example, some people are interested in the art of Veda, some people are interested in the science of Veda, some people are interested in the etymological features of Veda, some people are interested in the agamic aspects of Veda, and some people are interested in the relation between Puranas and the Vedas, Agamas and the Vedas, Itihasas and the Vedas, and to all people, as we know, Natyam Bhinna Ruchir Janasya Bhodapyekam Samaradhanam, so says the Kavikulu Guru Kalidasa, our national poet. Vedaha Bhinna Ruchibhya Janebhya Samesham Sarvesham Samaradhanam. Like that, Veda will entertain all people because it is our aspirations. It is the codification of the aspirations and achievements of our rishis, and rishis are eternal. In that sense, it is not bound by the frame of space and time. And we have interesting sessions where the misnomers regarding Vedas, who has to recite, who has to read, who should not, all these do's and don'ts are being prescribed long ago. But to what extent they are valid? How is it so? If so, any such written document available in Veda? If not, why should pursue that? Why can't we have the Vedas? In all these senses, we are going to have deliberations and discussions, and people are invited to participate as per the limited schedules, of course. We know Kala is the ultimate thing. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, Kala Kalaitamaham. I am the ultimate counter. And so when he is counting down, none can stop. When that being the case, we have to adhere to Kala Purusha. We should not avoid the Kala Prakriya. Then we have some scholars who are very eminent, who have to be respected as a token of our gratitude, and such scholars will be honored at the end. So it will be a very colorful and interesting session. We know Vade Vade Jayate Tattva Bodhaha. It is also said Vade Vade Jayate Tattva Nashaha. It should not happen. It will be Tattva Bodhaha. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ganesh, for this introduction to the 8-day conference. It's now time for us, as part of our tradition, to honor the respected invitees. I now invite Sri N. Ramanuja, Chairman, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Bangalore, to honor the Governor of Karnataka, Dr. H.R. Bharadwaj.
Jai Deva Deva Jai Jai Deva Divibhaga Divibhaga Deva Jai Jai Deva Divibhaga Deva दिविभागा दिविभागा देवा देवा दिविभागा इति दिविभागा देवा देवा दिविभागा इति दिविभागा इति दिविभागा दिविभागा इति कृष्णा जिदमिति दिविभागा दिविभागा इति कृष्णा जिदम्
I now request Shri H.R. Anant, Vice Chairman, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Bangalore, to honor Professor V. Kannan.
Divibhaga iti divibhaga iti krishna jidam jidamiti krishna jidamabhava krishna jidamiti krishna jidamabhava Krishna Jidamabhava Krishna Jidam Krishna Jidamabadhodati Dhodhatava Krishna Jidam Krishna Jidamabadhodati.
I now request Shri H.N. Suresh, Director, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, to honor Shri Madhu Pandit Das Ji.
Jidamite Krishna Ajidam Avadhodati Dhodhatavadhodati Mahime Dhodhatavadhodati me Dhodhati Mahime Dhodhati Dhodhati ma evai ve me Dhodhati Dhodhati ma eva.
Thank you very much. As a prelude to the keynote address to be delivered at this conference by Professor V. Kannan, ex-Pro Vice Chancellor, University of Hyderabad, it is appropriate for me to remind ourselves the Shanti Mantra enshrined in the Upanishads, exhorting every one of us to live in harmony with all the stakeholders, namely amongst ourselves and with nature, and thereby promoting universal peace. Prithvi shantarakshagam shantir dau shantir disha shantir avantaras disha shantir Agni shantir vayu shantir aditya shantir chandrama shantir nakshatrani shantir apa shantir roshadaya shantir vanaspati shantir 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 brahma shantir pushma shantir brahmana shantir shantireva shantir me astu shanti. I now request Professor V. Kannan, ex-Pro Vice Chancellor, University of Hyderabad, to deliver the keynote address.
Eminent scholars assembled here, Veda Abhimanis, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have assembled here for a unique event called Veda Samvada. This is organized by two renowned institutions, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan and ISKCON. I deem it an honor to have been invited to share with you some of my admiration for the glory of Vedas. What are Vedas? The Vedas are the oldest available books in the history of mankind. Dr. Annie Besant is correct when she says that the Vaidika Dharma is the oldest of living religions. Will Durant, the American historian, is correct when he writes that the Upanishads are the oldest extant philosophy and psychology of the human race. What is the age of Vedas? Who wrote them? The traditional view is that Vedas are eternal, Shashvatam. Manusmriti says, Anadi Nidhana Hyesha Vagutsrishta Swayambhuva. Vedic passages have neither a beginning time nor an ending time. They emerged from the God of creation. Upanishad itself says, Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam Yo Vai Vedamscha Prahinoti Tasmai. as soon as the God created the creator, the very first thing he did is he imparted Vedas to the creator. The researcher's view, the foreign scholar's view is only slightly different. Everyone agrees that the Veda is the oldest book of the world. They use such phrases as earliest stages of thought, most ancient records, first heavenly book, from the primordial past, first book of the mankind, and so on. These are probably, Vedas are probably the only ancient books that have remained intact, untampered, in the purely original form. The internal evidences unambiguously indicate that the Vedic rituals have been in vogue for 100,000 years. Shatam varsha sahasrani dikshita satramasata. Vedas have been in use for the past 1 lakh years and more. So say the Vedas themselves. It is because of this untampered preservation of Vedas that David Frawley and others assert that Vedas are the most reliable documents to understand the history of the ancient world. These revelations are of undecidable age, with the estimate of scholars ranging from 1200 BC to several millions BC. Several researchers assign several dates. Max Muller says 1200 BC, Keith and MacDonald say 2000 BC, Wilson says 4000 BC, Lokamanya Balak Gangadhar Tilak says 6000, and Nobel laureate says it is 70 lakhs BC. Why do they differ so much in their conclusions? A.B. Keith gives up his further research on the age of Vedas after declaring that the determination of the age of Samhitas will most probably remain as a mere conjecture. MacDonald admits at the end that the age of composition of suktas put forward by him is merely a guesswork. Khajki clearly writes that the age of Rigveda cannot be accurately determined by either linguistic tools or by literary data. Max Muller confesses that no power on earth can determine the age of the Vedas. These researchers diverge in their proposals about the date of Vedas, but there is one point on which they converge. All of them agree on the undecidability of the date of Vedas. These have been amazingly preserved by oral tradition. I am quoting now from a book of Graham Hancock, who has investigated mysteries of the histories. What is the most amazing about these hymnodies, Vedic passages, is not so much their overall length, which is awesome, but that for most of their history, it is probable that no written versions of them ever existed. And not because they could not be written down, but because the priests of the Vedic religion believed that they should not be written down, but should be kept alive instead in human memory. Vedanam lekhaka yesyuhu tevai nirayagaminaha. Whoever writes Vedas will go to hell. This is what rishis have pronounced. These are the only books whose sounds are regarded as important as their meanings. Markandeya Smriti prohibits even slightest variations in the recension of Vedas. Padasya varnamatrasya va vakyasya swarasya va vyatyaso yatra kutrapi. Tatra atyantam jagarukaha. We are advised to be very alert so that even a single letter or its swara is not changed. Now I quote an excerpt from the book Hymns from the Rig Veda by Dr. Jean-Mi Lee of France. The pyramids have been eroded by the desert wind, the marble broken by earthquakes, the gold stolen by robbers, while the Veda is recited daily by an unbroken chain of generations. Veda is traveling like a great wave through the living substance of the mind, traveling from generation to generation. Vedas and Vedangas contain not only rudiments but also some fairly advanced treatment of modern science. The Hindu revelation is in complete harmony with modern science, writes Jacques Olliat from France. The example that he gives is about the process of creation of the universe. In Vedas it says that it is created gradually, step by step, by evolution. Electricity, radium, electronics, airship are all known to the seers who founded the Vedas, writes Ella Wheeler Wilcox, a woman journalist of America. Rig Veda asserted that gravitation held the universe together. Vedic Aryans asserted that the earth was round and circled the sun. The Indians of the 5th century AD calculated the age of the earth as 4.3 billion years. In his book on the ancient roots of modern science, Dick Teresi goes on listing the scientific achievements of the Vedic civilization. Vedas admit many hidden meanings. Tirarthatam shrutishu vittadashartham. This is what Madhvacharya says. All Vedic passages have meanings in 3 different layers. The one on the outer layer is what we immediately understand. Even foreign scholars agree that Vedic passages should have concealed meanings. Solange Lemaitre in his book on Hinduism writes, there is more than a purely literal meaning found in the Vedas. Vedas are valuable thus for their antiquity, their unadulterated purity, their amazing oral passage to posterity, their undecidable age, their mesmerizing melody, their scientific contents, their hidden meanings, their divinity, their universality, and many other features that distinguish Vedic literature from the rest. In the coming 8 days, we are going to enjoy through these and many other glories of Vedas. Thank you.
Very illuminating keynote address which has set the tone for the discussions over the next 8 days. Before we go to the next item of the program, we deem it appropriate to also honor Bennagadde Narayana Bhatta, the Vedic scholar who has led the Vedic chantings. I request Sri Narayana Bhatta to kindly come on the stage and accept our humble honor.
Rajasupatha Raje Asman Vishwani Deva Vajunani Vidvan Yujodhyaspajjohoranamenaha Bhojasthante Nama Uktim Vidhema.
That he chose to lay the philosophical foundation for the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, his dream child, on the Rigvedic edict, Ano Badraha Krutavo Yantu Vishwataha, let noble thoughts come to us from every side. He sought to put the Bhavan on the high pedestal of the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, giving preeminent position to knowledge, Amrutam to Vidya. I now request Sri Madhu Pandit Das ji to address the gathering.
Hare Krishna. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। His Excellency H.R. Bharadwaj ji, respected Vedic scholars, Vedic followers, admirers and devotees of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan as well as ISKCON. ISKCON, or International Society for Krishna Consciousness, is extremely happy to have been given an opportunity to host this Vedic conference in this temple premises conceived by Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Bangalore. Nothing is as auspicious as this location where Lord Krishna resides. Lord Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Vedaischa sarvair aham veva vedyo vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. By the Vedas I am to be known, I am the compiler of Vedanta and I am the knower of the Vedas. As soon as our dear friend Sri K.G. Raghavan mooted this idea, I grabbed this opportunity. On this occasion, I'd like to talk about Krishna and the Vedas. ISKCON Acharya Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the greatest exponent of Krishna consciousness, in a short span of 11 years from 1966 to 77, spread the message of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavat Purana and the Sankirtana of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra all over the world, and starting from the West. Srila Prabhupada was asked why he was successful in converting so many people to Hinduism, to which Srila Prabhupada replied, "We convert atheist class of men to take to God consciousness. God is one. It is not the question of Christianity, Hindu or Muslim. Any religion that teaches to love God is genuine. It has nothing to do with Hinduism, Mohammedanism, etc." Thus, he succeeded because he presented Krishna not as a sectarian god of Hindus, but as Parabrahman, the absolute truth. Srila Prabhupada came in the tradition of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the 15th century saint and incarnation of Lord Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the founder of the philosophy of Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva. ISKCON teaches that absolute truth or God is simultaneously a transcendental, limitless person, Parabrahman, and impersonal Brahman, as revealed in the Vedas, Upanishads, and Puranas. It is for the first time that a presentation of Vedic knowledge with emphasis on the personal aspect of Parabrahman or Bhagavan was made all over the world through the empowered work of Srila Prabhupada. Krishna is presented all over the world by Srila Prabhupada as that transcendental personality who is the cause of all causes, Sarvakarana Karanam, not the limited person of flesh and blood, but the kind of person described in Svetasvatara Upanishad. That absolute truth has no material legs and hands, but has spiritual hands with which he accepts everything offered to him. And also similarly, Bhagavan has no material eyes, but he does have spiritual eyes that sees all. Although he has no material ears, he hears all, possessing all perfect material senses. He knows present, past, and future. Again, Krishna is not a limited person of flesh and blood, but who is described in the Katha Upanishad as Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadhati Kaman. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is a maintainer of innumerable entities in terms of their different situations according to individual work and reaction. Cautioning us against extending material conception of limited person of this world to Krishna, he himself reveals in Bhagavad Gita that he is not a person of flesh and blood subject to birth, death, old age as ordinary mortals. Avajananti mamuda manush tanum ashritam. Only the fools regard me as an ordinary person. He also declared that janma karma chame divyam evam yo viti tattvatah tektva deham punarjanmaniti mameti so.
O Arjuna, one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Such is the power of true understanding of absolute truth as a non-material, yet a person, but one who is the cause of all causes and maintaining the creation. The Rig Veda, which are hymns in praise of Devatas, and they all end with the word Om Tat Sat. Om Rig Veda also states Om Tat Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Surya, meaning the Devatas are always looking at the supreme abode of Vishnu. In the Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says Om Tat Sat iti nirdesho Brahmanas Trividaha Smritaha Brahmanas Tena Vedascha Yajnascha Vihitaha Pura. From the beginning of creation, the three words Om Tat Sat were used to indicate the supreme absolute truth. These three symbolic representations were used by Brahmanas while chanting the hymns of the Vedas and during sacrifices for the satisfaction of the Supreme. The Vedas are the manual of the universe. All scientific knowledge of the world is contained in them. While being so, Lord Krishna also reminded that Vedas are mainly meant to raise the life of a man to a transcendental level beyond material nature, which is the ultimate purpose of Vedas. Thus, the ultimate purpose of the Vedas are even beyond the Vedas. Men of scientific knowledge are very much attached. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also warns about giving overemphasis to the material aspects of the Vedas. Kamatmatmana swargapara janma karma phala pradam kriya vishesha bahulam bhogaishwarya gatim prati. Men of small knowledge are very much attached to flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desire of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. Vyasadeva, who compiled all the Vedic literatures, found himself in a state of lack of complete satisfaction. Then his guru Narada came to him and directed him to compose a work in direct praise of Vishnu or Krishna. This is a background in which Vyasadeva composed Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is described by Vyasadeva as a mature fruit of Vedic knowledge. Nigama kalpataror galitham phalam chukamukhad amrit dhrava samyutam. Our expert and thoughtful men relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of desired tree of Vedic literature. It emanated from the lips of Shukadeva Goswami. In this particular age, Srimad Bhagavata Purana and Srimad Bhagavad Gita, these two, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, these two literature, if one can get familiarized with and practice, one will achieve perfection in life. Srimad Bhagavatam, though it is a final literature that Vyasadeva wrote, containing the essence of all Vedic knowledge, still it contains a lot of material knowledge within that, so that there is a development of faith in the rest of the matter that is given in Srimad Bhagavatam. In Srimad Bhagavatam, even though it was composed 5,000 years back by Vyasadeva, there is a description of the subject of embryology. In those days, now there are so many different kinds of modern observing instrument to find out at what stages the heartbeat of the embryo starts, breathing starts, etc. Even as early as 5,000 years back, it is recorded in Srimad Bhagavatam exactly how many days of the formation of the embryo, the heart starts beating, breathing, etc. And this is matching exactly with what we see in Gray's Anatomy of modern medical science. How did they know all these things? They had the power of the intuition, power of the mental instruments by which they could actually see these things happening. Beyond that, Srimad Bhagavatam also gives a whole description of creation of this material world, which is taking into account the factor called consciousness. The modern science is trying to understand this material world with the missing element of consciousness. Whereas our Vedic understanding encompassed all aspects of life, the consciousness, the senses and everything, and Srimad Bhagavatam talks of the creation of this material world, not only in terms of Panchabhuta, it talks in terms of 5 elements, then Manas, Buddhi, Ahankara, all the senses, the factor called time, and finally the factor called consciousness. Today, the physicists are bewildered when they go deeper and deeper into the study of matter. In 1963 Nobel laureate Eugene Wigner, he said, physicists have found it impossible to give a satisfactory description of atomic phenomena without referring to consciousness. The special characteristic of modern science is that consciousness is not considered as an element. Consciousness is simply considered to be a product of matter. Only matter is believed to be existing. In that spirit, when they went deeper and deeper into matter, they entered a roadblock, the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, where the observer made an impact on the measurement. This was unknown to science. It completely bewildered the entire world of physics, and till today they have not resolved it. And in other words, they are realizing that the world cannot be understood without understanding the observer or the consciousness. Consciousness could not be factored till today, and the scientists today are trying to see how, through mathematics, advanced mathematics, consciousness could be factored. The same physicist, Eugene Wigner, has shown that the probability of existence of self-duplicating unit is 0. That means, could life just come out of chemicals? He has said, since the ability to reproduce is one of fundamental characteristics of all living organisms, Wigner concludes that our present understanding of physics and chemistry does not enable us to explain the phenomena of life. Herbert Yockey has demonstrated by information theory that even a single information molecule such as cytochrome C, what to speak of complex organisms, could not have arisen by chance in the estimated lifetime of Earth. And he says, one must conclude that contrary to the established and current wisdom, a scenario describing genesis of life on Earth by chance and natural causes cannot be accepted on the basis of facts. In the last 2 centuries, after the Western invasion, our Vedic knowledge has been taken to the West and translated and quite often used out of context. For instance, the knowledge of Kama Sutra was first translated by British explorer Richard Francis Burton. Contrary to the current belief, the actual purpose of Kama Sutra is one of self-control. For example, Kama Sutra begins with the prohibitions of sexual relations in the 3 out of the 4 ashramas, namely Brahmachari, Vanaprastha and Sannyasi. Therefore, Kama Sutra is not to propagate illicit sex, but meant to control and manage sex urge for procreation in Grihastha ashrama. Today, the Western mind has painted India's culture as one of allowing unrestricted sex indulgence, misunderstood this book inspired free sex age in the West, and now the same is moving to India due to the globalization of Western culture. In Srimad Bhagavatam, you will find relativity of time described freely. How 1 day of demigods is 1 year for us. How Brahma's 1 day is 4.32 million earthly years. It is only in the beginning of 20th century modern science described the relativity of time. Albert Einstein stated, "We owe a lot to Indians who taught us how to count, without which no worthwhile scientific discovery could have been made." Mark Twain said, "India is the cradle of human race, the birthplace of human speech, the mother of history, the grandmother of legend, the great grandmother of tradition. Our most valuable and most constructive materials in the history of man are treasured up in India only. The French scholar Romain Rolland wrote, "If there is one place on the face of the earth where all dreams of living men have found a home from the very earliest days when man began the dream of existence, it is India." The glories of Vedic material knowledge are unlimited to describe. The next few days we have assembled here to churn this knowledge, not only material knowledge, but also the essence of Vedas or the essence of Vedic knowledge, the transcendental knowledge, the knowledge beyond the senses, beyond this material knowledge. On this occasion, I would like to quote a particular verse from Kalisantarna Upanishad in order to invoke auspiciousness of the Lord for the success of this Vedic conference. It is said that the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is specifically mentioned in many Upanishads, such as Kalisantarna Upanishad. Kalisantarna Upanishad says, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Iti Shodashaka Namnam Kali Kalmasha Nashanam Natro Paratro Upaya Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. It means after searching through all the Vedic literature, one cannot find a method of religion more sublime for this age than chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So on this auspicious day, let us all invoke the blessings of Lord Krishna. Attaining him is the goal of all Vedas. Let us chant the Mahamantra 3 times. Please join me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madhu Pandit Das ji, for this very elucidating address. We now come to the important aspect of this program, namely an address by the Governor of Karnataka. To deliver the inaugural address for this conference, we have amidst us Dr. H.R. Bharadwaj, Honorable Governor of Karnataka. Dr. Bharadwaj, independent of his position he occupies today, has been a successful lawyer, an able administrator, and above all, has personal commitment to the concept of universal religion. He believes that all faiths ultimately lead one towards the same destination, namely the all-pervading, non-dual supreme power, and placing us in the eternal orbit of Ananda Sthiti, of truth, non-violence, tolerance, love, and compassion. He is the author of a meaningful book titled India, a Fellowship of Faith. To Dr. Bharadwaj, there can be no religion that preaches falsehood, violence, and hatred among fellow beings. In his view, the Vedas declare the principles of all religions as pious because they endow spiritual strength to the society. The Vedas, to him, explain the indivisibility of the Supreme Being who is kind and benevolent to all mankind despite geographical divisions created by human beings. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is a foundation statement of the Vedas. We all look forward to hear from him directly on this subject. Dr. H.R. Bharadwaj, Governor.
Shri N. Ramanuja, Chairman, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Shri Satabdhani, Dr. R. Ganesh, Director, K. Munshi Institute of Performing Arts, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Professor V. Kannan, Pro Vice Chancellor, University of Hyderabad, Shri Madhu Pandit Das, President of the ISKCON Institutions, Bangalore, Shri K. G. Raghavan, Honorary Secretary, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, distinguished scholars and esteemed invitees. Whenever we discuss any scriptures which are of religions, we always go with a sublime attitude to the religion. And India is famous for that. There is no manner of doubt, and everybody agrees in the world that India is one of the oldest civilizations, and a great literature existed in India thousands of years ago. Chinese and Indians perhaps are the two great civilizations which have survived all upheavals of history. And we had relation. Recently, the Minister of External Affairs came here, and I discussed with him how Chinese benefited from India when Faiyan and Hewan Sang, they came to Nalanda for learning. And he was beholden to that statement. That is why I request our scholars in India that we should not mix the literature which our scriptures have produced. Hinduism exists on a vast reservoir of knowledge, and this world actually is not found in any shastras. Either there is Sanatan Dharma or Vedic Dharma or anything, but there is nothing like Hindu Dharma. In any scripture, I can challenge everybody, it is either Sanatan or this. There are two civilizations living in India now. One is the Aryan civilization. Without dispute, Aryans belong to India and the surroundings of India. Whenever we do puja or archana, we say, Aryavarte Bharat Khande, Jambu Dvipe. Delhi is the Jambu Dvipe. So there are old names of our important places. So Aryavart is one philosophy and one civilization. And this area where we live in Karnataka and Kerala, as well as in Andhra and even Tamil Nadu also, they are Dravidians. And they both are oldest civilizations. And similarities of ideas, one is the Indus civilization, particularly near Indus Valley. Excavations in British days, Mohenjo-daro, and adjoining area, Harappans, they have confirmed this. And our Telugu language itself is a big classical language, and Kannada is equally a powerful language, but 50-60% of it is Sanskrit. And Malayalam also, but Tamil is another classical language. They have got Tirkurals. They don't have Vedas. They call it Kurals. And I was given these Tirkurals by Paramachari in Kanchi when I used to go to him as a lawyer. So these are two powerful civilizations which has merged, and merged so powerfully that there is no difference between our cultures. Today, you can't isolate Kannada with any part of India because your literature is so powerful. I belong to Haridas Parampara. My family believes in Haridas Parampara. There is another Parampara, Raghavendra Swami's much, and all this. It's a vast knowledge. So this is a vast ocean of knowledge, and we must understand it properly. Vedas are ancient because they were not man-made. Nobody can say that so and so made the Vedas. These are Shrutis. Shruti from Shruti, the principle says they are the basis on which Vyas Rishi compiled them in 4 volumes of Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sham Veda, Athur Veda. And subject-wise, if you carefully read all Vedas, fortunately the Arya Samaj in our country kept those volumes as they are available today, and they are selling it in very cheap publications to ordinary people. Read. Every mantra, every part of Vedas is ascribed to one Rishi. His name is given in that compilation. So and so Rishi gave this part of Vedas. So and so gave this part of Vedas. Not Bharadwaj alone. There are thousands of Rishis. And this is the great fortune of our country that we are a country of rishis and munis and saints and philosophers. This is not so in the West. There are two philosophies in the world, and everybody vouchsafe, Britishers in Harvard or in England or in Oxford, in Cambridge, they never knew about what India is. They thought India is a backward country, we can enslave it. But how after centuries of slavery we emerged victorious? Gandhiji. So I must tell you, any scholar who speaks on Vedas must know this, that Vedas were compiled by Vedvyas. His rishi was known as the Vyas Rishi. He compiled Vedas, therefore he was called Vedvyas later on. There is no manner of dispute. So Vedvyas compiled them in such a state that first part of the Vedas are Brahmanas. That is Karmakanda. Those people who do puja, archana, or Brahmins particularly, they are called Brahmanas only because they do this ritualistic part of the Karamkand part of this. Most important part of Vedas is the Brahmagyan, is the spiritual knowledge, which is the mystic knowledge which India has produced of the highest order. And that Brahmagyan is the Upanishad or Aranyakas part of it. Upanishad is the core of Vedas because it is the highest knowledge which we get. And nowhere in the world such a literature exists. Because the materialistic outlook of the world mostly people prefer. They say eat, drink and be merry, tomorrow you die. And in India also there was a Charvak philosophy and so. But our Shat Darshan, the six philosophies which India has practiced, they gave preference to the Vedic and Upanishadic thought. And people who have known all this, they have put the Vedic philosophy in a correct perspective. I personally, I have made a lot of studies here as well as in foreign countries, how they got the knowledge. The Vedas were unknown to the West. They reached through the Persian translation of the Vedas by Darashikoh. He sat in Banaras and translated Vedas into Persian. And the first chair was launched in France. And Schopenhauer, one of the greatest philosophers of French scholar, he set the first Sanskrit chair in France. Similarly, in Germany, they started teaching of Sanskrit. Then Oxford, Max Muller from Germany went and taught in Oxford the Indian philosophy. And they told the ICS people who were coming to India to govern this country that India is not just a old rustic country, it's a very powerful civilization and you will see many things. So William Jones and 2-3 other civil servants came to Calcutta in East India Company and they tried to discover what is India. So they translated several books, Upanishads and all this, and they found this is unprecedented knowledge which exists in India. And they formed the Asia Society in Calcutta. Through that, they sent the literature to rest of the world. And personally, I personally see that why it could not happen. It could not happen because after a certain age, India faced several upheavals in history, and our history was not properly written by anybody, unless Dr. Munshi and his colleagues thought of this your history published by Vidya Bhavan. You will not find all commentator Hevel or other people whom I read extensively, they say Aryans migrated to India. I have traveled all over the world to see where are that place where Aryans were living. The only one place I found was that original Aryans could be located was near Iran, and they were these Parsis who have come to India. They did not convert themselves, they traveled to Gujarat, Navsari, and they wanted to live in India. They said, we belong to your way of thinking, and they were allowed to live in Navsari, and now they are occupying that area, Bombay and Gujarat area. So they are fire worshippers. They worship the fire, god of fire. We also are worshippers of the fire. All our rituals are held at Agni. So there are similarity of the Veda. But when I read Vedas extensively, every part of it, I find we are identified with the entire environment of India. Our mountains, our rivers, our cities, and so many things, they fit in our system. So I firmly believe that Aryans were Indians, ancient times, because they were rishis. Nobody except rishis and munis elsewhere. They say, we get philosopher. Then I traveled to the Greek. They were philosophers at one island. There is a Miletus island in Greek, where I went there, where this Plato, Aristotle, and Socrates, and all these, they were born in around that area. They knew nothing about the origin or how the human beings are born or things are born. They were just imagining whether by moisture or by this or by air or by water things are created. India answers all these questions in the Vedic literature. Panchbhut, what are the 5 elements by which the humanity is constituted. But before that, if you see these things, they are not relevant. Now, science and technology became so powerful in the West that they never accepted anything spiritual. The difference between East and West is they are far more materialistic, far more greedy, which India does not. India has attached importance to spirituality. And that is the privilege of India, that our saints and seers are sannyasis. In India even today, whatever fall we may experience today in our life, but even today, people who sacrifice are respected. So rishis and munis, they were gurus. And gurus who used to teach students all the dharma and all make them worthy of living in the world, they were respected gurus. Whether you see any kingdom, the guru was given the most important place. So this is where nobody can dispute, any person in India, that we have 4 stages of life prescribed by Vedas. First is dharma. The second is artha and kam. And third is vanprasth and then sannyas. These are 4 stages which our ancestors who were Prakanda Pandit of Kashi, they used to say these are the 4 purusharth of life. You must remain a brahmacharya for 25 years and do your education in a gurukul. We had gurukuls. I am a student of a gurukul. And we have learned Sanskrit from our birth. It's not that we got as a part of education. And then we used to study regularly under the guidance of Guru, and we used to pray all this. And then when I became 25 years ago, age of age, my Guru, my own grandfather, he was the principal of that Gurukul, he told me that now you are 25 years of age and you are a lawyer. Now I direct you to join the Grihastha ashram. And exact words I can repeat before this audience. हंसराज, मैं तुम्हें आदेश देता हूँ कि तुम अब तुम्हारा ब्रह्मचर्य आश्रम खत्म हो गया है, अब तुम गृहस्थ आश्रम में प्रवेश करो. He named my wife that so and so, daughter of so and so, you have to marry. And that was an order. I never saw my wife, so that was an order. And that was an order. I touched his feet and went for the marriage. And I married a girl whom I never seen. And that was the tradition of Vedas. Guru Shishya Parampara. If India does not remember the Guru Shishya Parampara, where are Vedas? Vedas are all transmission of knowledge directly by the Guru to the Shishya. You read all the Upanishad, they start with a prayer. And the prayer is that our thoughts be common, that there be proper communication between an equilibrium of thoughts. All these are very high principles, and and they have been followed in India. So the Guru gives you direction to enter the Grihastha ashram, and this is the most auspicious thing in one's life. When you enter into marriage with a girl, you take certain vows. There are certain promises made. Nobody remembers these days those days. But they are very important. That I shall respect you, I shall consult you, and I will not insult your parents or your relations. You will be my Ardhangini. All these kind of things, they are in our culture and in our mandate of our society. They were part of Vedas. If you just read Atri Upanishad and Tatri Upanishad, you will find a complete code for students. If you don't remember, then what is the use of talking of Vedas? Every convocation which I address, I see that these commandments of Tatri Upanishad are repeated. First is the Matri Deva Bhav. Have you understood the import of Matri Deva Bhav? It is something brilliant. Why Matri Deva Bhav? Because Prithvi is the mother of the whole universe. Prithvi Sukta in Atharvaveda, it says so, that every person who is born is the son of this Mother Earth. Same is repeated in Isha Upanishad. Isha Vasvedam Sarvam Yat Kinchan Jagatyam Jagat. This word or any other word, Patal or this, everything is manifested or pervaded by the one God, Isa, Ishwar. And Teni Tikkitena Bhunjita Magarda Kassa Savidhanam. The destiny gives you whatever is your ordained. You cannot covet the wealth of others. You have to be satisfied. It's a great, great mantra. And Gandhiji accepted this very version in his freedom movement. I read yesterday only to prepare myself for this conference. So what was the mantra of Gandhiji? He has explained Isha Upanishad, that Isha Upanishad tells me that the whole earth belongs to Gopalji. He named Gopalji, that means Krishnji. And if whole world belongs to Gopalji, then where is the dispute about it? So I am a universal man. And my religion is truth and non-violence. This was his answer. A great saint that India got born because he accepted this philosophy. So we have that broad vision. What it means, Mr. Raghavan, when Munshiji chose this, Ano Bhadra Karkantu Yantu Vishwata. We have always been, from the very day of India's existence, open-minded people, large-hearted people. We never discriminated between one person or another person. Rabindranath Tagore himself repeated this in his own son, none shall be turned away from this vast sea of humanity that India is. So that is our greatness as well as a weakness. We have welcomed everybody, and India became a nestling place of all multiple religions in India. And we never insulted them, we tolerated them. And this assimilation of process and fusion of religion has made it a wonderful society today. And that is our success. But our weakness is sometimes we become intolerant to other people. If you are bright people, if you have strength of life, then you have to be tolerant. Religion tells only tolerance. And let me tell you, this Gita is a recreation of the Vedas. I wanted, because I've been a student of ISKCON for many years. In America also they have ISKCON. They have got in other countries. Okay, why these people are taking this movement? This exactly, if you read Gita and the four Vedas, you will find 100% repetition of the Vedas through Lord Krishna. And it is explained by Lord Krishna himself that knowledge had fallen down in between. with revelation of Gita and Vedas, there was the difference of two yugas, Dwapar and Treta. And now we are in Kali Yuga. So this Bhagavat will explain what Kali Yuga is. I am a trustee of the Bhagavat Peeth in UP, Hastinapur. There it will explain what will happen in Kali Yuga. So it is a fact of life that the knowledge which was enshrined in Vedas had been forgotten. The entire Bhakti Kalin medieval period, where all these bhakts went to Ram Bhakti and Krishna Bhakti, because we were not ruled by us. So they went in the service of Lord Himself, that you liberate us sometime or the other. But even then, Tulsidas ji in Ramcharitmanas said, Sri Ramchandra ji, तुलसी मस्तक तब नवे जब धनुष बाण हो हाथ, शक्तिशाली देश होना चाहिए, तभी हम आपको मानेंगे. तो मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम राम को भी हम लोग भगवान का दर्जा दिया. और कृष्ण जी, बिकॉज दे ब्रॉट बैक द नॉलेज विच वी हैड लॉस्ट. सो गीता is an essence of entire volumes of Vedas. That is why today it is easier to know Vedas by reading Gita. The whole metaphysics, what does Gita tell you? It says, your Atma, the soul, is eternal, ajo nityo sasvato. The soul alone is ajo nityo sasvato, jatasya mritu dhrum. The man is born, he is bound to die. So he exhorts Arjuna to do your duty. Do your duty as a warrior, otherwise you will be called as a coward. And that exhortation, then Lord Krishna shows that everything is within me. The message of Gita also is the same. The man who sees me in other pranis and other pranis in me, he is the real knowledge and knower. So this is what Vedas also say, Kathopanishad also says the same thing, that the Lord exists in everybody. And therefore you must see everybody in the Lord. And then ultimately Upanishads say that God resides in human harm, hridayam tisthati, within the cave of your heart, the God resides. And there is no manner of doubt that if your heart stops functioning, there is nothing remains in the body. So God is within your heart. There is a flicker which we call Jyoti Swarup, or flicker, or the electricity which generated within the heart. That is the atom of God within everything. That keeps you working. Yesterday I need a paper from United States. They said besides the 5 senses of human body, there is something else within the human body. There is something else in the human body which coordinates of working of your whole senses and gives you the sense of discretion and sense of knowledge. That is God. Shreyascha, Preyascha, Manushamed. They are both bad and good within human body, and they direct you. Within there is a power which says, don't follow this bad path, follow the good path. And that is what the rishis could do. They sat in the period of yore, saw the twisted truth and nature in Princeton purity, and produced Vedas, and they were repeated by the Guru Shishya Parampara for thousands of years until this printing and writing came and they were codified. So Vedas cannot be equated with Puranas. Puranas are later literature, and Vedas are dominated by Lord Brahma, the creator of the earth, Prajapati, Hiranyagarbha, all names. But Puranas are dominated by Lord Vishnu, the second power of the same supreme reality, the sustainer. So people like wealth, people like prosperity, people like promotions, all these, they always go before Lord Purana. Vishnu, give me this, give me that. That is all taking. But to know things, you have to go to Mother Sharda or Lord Brahma to give you knowledge. So knowledge is a great purifier. And that knowledge you must understand in real sense. Wherever there is a knowledge, there is a prosperity. If you are a good lawyer, you must know the law. If you are a good engineer, you must know the ultimate technology. So if you are an administrator, you must be firm in your commitment, the constitutional goal. Therefore, the Vedic principles are eternal. And eternal, only two things in life, which I personally see. One is your own soul within you. It is eternal. You may die, soul will go and answer to the Supreme Soul. And if the other is the God Himself. He never dies. That is accepted view of all scriptures. And this later scriptures modification in the literature in Hinduism came after other religions came to us. The Muslim brought Prophet Muhammad with them. And they say he is the messenger of God. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. He is the Rasul. And Jesus Christ brought another philosophy that I am son of the God. And I have come to redeem the world by throwing ignorance out of the world. So these Dharmachari or all these people, they are brilliant people. They also adopted the Avatarvadi in our worship. And Gita answers this question. Paritrananam sadhunam vinaschayacha duskritam dharma stapna arthe sambhavami yuge yuge. So answer is there in our country also. It is not that there are no prophets. God Himself takes birth in the form of human beings. And that is how the Ram Bhakti and Krishna Bhakti came. But earlier in the Vedas, the Prajapati, creation, and all this was done by him, and sustainer is Lord Vishnu. This is Puranic literature. There are very important 8 or 9 Puranas. They are Puranic stories, maintaining the principles of the Vedas, but for a common man explaining them in other ways. And then there are commentaries, and finally these are epics. Ramayana and Mahabharata are not a part of Vedas. They are epics, our history. Ram was a ruler of Ayodhya. Is there any doubt about it? And so Lord Krishna from Dwarkadhish, the whole thing, I personally gone to Dwarkadhish. There is a powerful area of Lord Krishna where he came from, and then Mathura, Vrindavan. All these, they are a part of our Indian culture and heritage. But these are avatars who came to redeem us and save the humanity. And many such things will happen. And according to me, the knowledge of Vedas is eternal. It never changes. It is infallible because it emerged from Shruti. And we should try to understand it, that learn 25 years of good knowledge. Any student. I must today emphasize on thing that these 2 Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad, is only meant for the student life, brahmacharya life. And that gives you complete commandment how a good student should go about and become perfect. Now in American university, I have visited 99% universities of United States, from Harvard to Berkeley, Berkeley to Los Angeles, and then to right up to Hawaii. The tradition of American university is just like our Gurukulas. The student and teachers, they are father and son, and they maintain their relation throughout their life. 5 professors. Mark Galanter is a very senior professor. I met him only for 1 month here. And he comes regularly to India and phones me. They keep their contact and remember each other. Recently, one of our judges, Justice Bhandari, he was from Northwest University and a student. Now he is sitting our representative in Hague, in the Hague Court of International Court at Hague. He is being invited by his teachers as an alumni, and he is being showered the highest praise by the teachers in America, because they say he is our student, and he has great privilege to accept it and going there. We are not doing the same thing in this. We don't show any respect to our gurus. So gurus have become irrelevant. So what kind of Shishya we are producing, you know it very well. So these are our problems. So Vedic religion can restore the Indianism on us, and there is something in our culture. Even Allama Iqbal, he wrote about सारे जहाँ से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा, he said 2 lines. कुछ बात है कि हस्ती मिटती नहीं है हमारी. It is said in Urdu. There is something in India by which we have not vanished. Although सदियों रहा है दुश्मन दौरे जावा हमारा. We have faced that type of situation, but yet we have survived. It is because of the foundation of Vedas and our principles of Vedas that we have not vanished. So that is why I say that there should be a regular study of Vedas, and you can't study Vedas unless you study Sanskrit. On philology, there is no manner of doubt the Vedas were written in Prakrit. Vedic Prakrit was the bhasha of Vedas, and the shlokas were very big. Thereafter Panini, a great scholar, he gave the grammar of the Sanskrit, and the Prakrit was sanctified by the Panini's grammars, and that is why it is called Sanskrit. Vedic Prakrit and Pali. Pali was a language when Buddhism and Jainism was here in it. It's just similar to Prakrit. Thereafter Sanskrit took over, and they made it very easy to understand with the grammar. With the grammar, Sanskrit has become the best language in the world, and there is also a unanimity amongst the philologists, the Germans, Iranians, Russians, that Sanskrit is the mother of all languages. If you just send all languages. Now, the Persians derive great satisfaction to say that yes, our Persian originated from the Sanskrit. They call the daughter in Persian the Dukhtar. Dukhtar in Persian, in Sanskrit it is Duhetri. So the philology proves that there are similarity of word. And Pidar, the mother, and Pitri is in Sanskrit. So there is absolute similarity in phonetics. So we must understand that our language has fed on rituals by mantras and all this. Mantras all right, but beyond your Karamakand, you have to be a powerful philosopher like Vivekananda. He, with his whole study of Upanishad, he shook the world. And what is he said? Uttista Jagrata. Utho, Jago. And that exhortation made such a powerful impact in America. I saw there are 2 people who are known, Vivekananda and Yogananda in Los Angeles. So that is what makes us strong. And K.M. Munshi, really Dr. K.M. Munshi, whom I know so intimately, he did a marvelous job in India to revive our Vedic philosophy through the other scientific knowledge. He created institution where not only Vedas and Upanishads and Puranas are being reminded. He also brought science, technology and various other languages. In Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan in New Delhi, there was classes of French and Germans and Italians, every language. And you could learn any language. We have to become now cosmopolitan because by your own philosophy, by your own knowledge, Indians have convinced abroad that we deserve attention, we are meritorious, but not by hypocrisy, that our ancestors were great so you accept us as great. No. They will argue with you. I have argued with Americans about India in my own field of law, and I saw to it that they are convinced that Indian judicial system, which our founding father is one of the greatest system in power of judicial review of all actions of the executive and legislature. And they accepted, and they are having a direct communication with our judiciary. So were the Britishers. They said, our judges speak the language of law. I said, not only your judges, our judges also speak this. Ultimately, you will be surprised to know, I said, there is no separation of legislature from the judiciary in England. So last 2 years, when I was law minister, they separated their House of Lords and Supreme Court of India. So India can teach the rest of the world. provided you gain knowledge as our saints and seers and philosophers have given you, and yet what Rabindranath Tagore, Ram Mohan Roy, so many scholars from India, they blended with the latest science and technology. So that is what I feel the purpose of this discussion should be. You can't travel to a dark tunnel and have a bright future. You will have to go to a bright future with confidence, and confidence that we have a powerful republic in India. Our founding fathers, Gandhis, all Shishyas, all people who worked in, they gave a beautiful democracy. It's for us now to maintain it and maintain with our tradition by Guru Shishya Parampara. First job is to respect your gurus, your elders. अभी कोई माँ बाप के पैर नहीं छूता. हमको तो सुबह ये सिखाया जाता था कि बड़ों के पैर छुओ, आदर करो. माँ को बुढ़ापे में याद नहीं करता कोई भी, वो कहते हैं ठीक है होगी. जैसे माँ जन्म देती है आपको, माँ अपने बॉडी से जन्म देती है आपको, अपना खाना भी नहीं आप खुद खाती बच्चे को और खड़ा करती है, सब कुछ सिखाती है. आप ओल्ड एज में मदर पेरेंट्स को कोई परवाह नहीं करता. ये हमारे उपनिषदों का ज्ञान है. मातृदेव भव इज द फर्स्ट आइटम ऑफ विच इज टॉट इन आवर उपनिषद. So I thank you for organizing this, but I make a request. Let us not mix the British or Western philosopher with our own philosophy. And they are quite different people. They have ruled the world, kept people slaves for years and centuries, exploited it. There have been world wars. There have been barbarous victories in so many things. We have never gone out and conquered any part of the world. We are peace-living people. We produced Gautam Buddha, Bhagwan Mahavir, and Guru Nanak Dev, and Adi Shankara, Madhavacharya, Ramanujacharya. We only adjust and blend Advait Vedanta with Visistadvaitvad or Dvaitvad, only to explain to the people. Otherwise, there is no difference between the Vedic philosophy as such. This is my view, and I am yet making certain whether what I say is true or not. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for this very illuminating the importance of India, its tradition, its culture, and how we should all try to keep up the old traditions. In fact, I was reminded when you were talking about the importance of mother and motherland. After the war in the Ramayana, when Rama vanquished Ravana, he expresses a desire to Lakshmana to go back to Ayodhya in these words. Api Swarnamayi Lanka Name Lakshmana Rochate Janani Janmabhumischa Swargadapi Gariyasi. Lakshmana, even this golden Lanka does not appeal to me. Mother and motherland are greater than heaven. Now we come to the end of this inaugural session. I request Sri H. N. Suresh, the director of the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Bangalore, to propose the vote of thanks.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. I really have no words today to thank adequately for the wonderful inaugural session we had this morning. First, I thank Varuna Deva, who has been very kind to ensure that this conference goes off so wonderfully well. And I thank him and I pray for him. And our thanks to His Excellency Bharadwajji. You saw him how erudite scholar he is, and it is very befitting that he inaugurated this Vedic conference. And our heartfelt thanks to Sri Madhav Pandit Das Ji. But for his support and cooperation, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan could not have held this conference in this manner. And it is also very important for us that we had a wonderful keynote address by Professor V. Kannanji, the Pro Vice Chancellor of the University. And I'm sure in the next session he is going to continue some of his thoughts. Please ensure that your presence is here to know more about him. And of course, our own Shatavadani or Ganesh, who has made a wonderful presentation in the beginning. And I thank Ramanujaji for his welcome address. And I am sure that Raghavan, who is the brain behind this program, I think he also deserves a round of applause. He has taken all the pains to ensure that this program goes on very successfully, and our special thanks goes to Dr. Ramanujam. Please get up, but for his, and also Kannan of the Sanskrit University, please, both of them, I'd be happy if you could both stand up for a while, so that these are the two people who made the entire agenda for the conference, and I think they spent sleepless night in receiving the calls, and so my special thanks to them. And of course, all of you, I don't want to take too much of time, and I'm grateful to the media who have been very kind to us and have ensured that in this wonderful audience in front of us, and I'm sure that all the Vedic scholars who chanted in the beginning Veda mantras, and I'm very grateful to them, and my list is endless, let me tell you. So I don't think I'll be doing justice if I just say names and all that. They have put their heart, soul and mind. Indriya, Mana, Buddhi, all the three were there involved in this conference. And I thank all the donors who have been ensured that the Pandits are kept happy with their airfare. And we are also thankful to all of you for having made it possible this Sunday morning. And I am sure the entire week we will be recording the entire sessions and also bringing out a souvenir. And it's the desire of our governor that Bhavan should have a permanent study center for the Vedic literature. So whatever that is possible with all your cooperation and the support, we will be doing that. And people who could not get their chances to present their views on the vast knowledge of the Vedas like sea and the sky, they will get the chance to participate in various other seminars which Bhavan's Veda Study Circle is going to come to before you. Thank you very much. One and all, we will join again at 2 o'clock for the next session. And once again, if I have left anybody, please forgive me, because the list is endless to thank from the Bhavan, and I thank on behalf of ISKCON as well, because they are the partners in this progress. Thank you very much, sir.